Hello and welcome to this educational video about JavaScript. Our main focus in this session will be on code editor questions, which are commonly discussed during interviews. By diving into these topics, you'll enhance your understanding of JavaScript and improve your interviewing abilities. During the video, we'll pose a question for you to answer, followed by the correct response. We will give you 15 seconds to answer each question. Optionally, you can pause the video if you need more time. Although we will be focusing on interview responses, it's important to be familiar with the technical aspect of each topic. You can find detailed technical answers under the Code Editors category on our website at hellojavascript.info. So, let's get started with the first question. What does IDE stand for in web development? The interview response is: the acronym IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment in Web Development. It is a software application that provides a comprehensive environment for web development, including code editing, debugging, and testing tools. Now for the next question. What is an IDE? Here is the correct answer. An IDE is a software application that provides a comprehensive environment for web development, including code editing, debugging, and testing tools. Let's move on to the next question. What is the primary difference between an IDE and a lightweight editor? The correct interview response is: the primary difference between an IDE and a lightweight editor is that an IDE provides a complete development environment, including debugging, testing, and integration tools, while a lightweight editor focuses only on code editing. Here's the next question. What code editors are you familiar with? The correct answer is: I'm familiar with several code editors such as Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, Atom, and Notepad++. This is the next question. What is your preferred code editor and why? This is the correct way to answer this question. My preferred code editor is Visual Studio Code because it has many features and extensions that make coding easier and more efficient, such as auto-completion, debugging tools, and Git integration. Now for the next question. How do you customize your code editor to suit your needs? Now, for the correct answer. I customize my code editor by installing extensions or plugins that provide the functionality I need. For example, I might install an extension that adds syntax highlighting for a particular language, or a plugin that improves code formatting or refactoring. Let's move on to the next question. Can you explain what a code snippet is and how you use it in your code editor? Here is the response to this interview question. A code snippet is a small piece of reusable code that can be inserted into a file with a few keystrokes. I use code snippets in my code editor to speed up my workflow and reduce errors. For example, I might use a code snippet to insert a block of HTML or CSS code that I frequently use, instead of typing it out each time. Here's the next question. How do you collaborate with other developers using a code editor? The correct answer is: I collaborate with other developers using a code editor, by using a version control system, such as Git, and by sharing files or projects through cloud-based services like GitHub or Bitbucket. I might also use collaboration tools built into the code editor, such as live share features or commenting functionality. This is the next question. What are some keyboard shortcuts you can use in a code editor? Here is the interview response. Some keyboard shortcuts you can use in a code editor include Ctrl or CMD+C to copy, CTR or CMD+V to paste, Ctrl or CMD+C to undo, and Ctrl or CMD+Shift+P to access the command palette. This is the next question. What is your process for troubleshooting errors in your code editor? The interview response is: when troubleshooting errors in my code editor, I typically start by checking the console or output panel for error messages. If that doesn't provide enough information, I might try disabling extensions or plugins to see if they're causing the issue. I might also consult online resources such as documentation or forums to see if others have encountered similar problems. Now for the next question. How do you keep your code editor up to date with the latest versions and security patches? Here is the correct answer. I keep my code editor updated by regularly checking for updates and installing them as they become available. I also make sure to enable automatic updates if the editor supports them. Let's move on to the next question. What are tasks that can be performed using Visual Studio Code? The correct interview response is: Visual Studio Code supports coding, debugging, collaboration, version control integration, extensions, and plugins, code snippets, intelligent code completion, and code refactoring. Here's the next question. What languages can you code in Visual Studio Code? The correct answer is Visual Studio Code supports multiple programming languages, including JavaScript, Python, Java, C++, C#, PHP, TypeScript, and many others. This is the next question. What are the latest features added to Visual Studio Code 2021? This is the correct way to answer this question. Some notable features added to Visual Studio Code in 2021 include a built-in web view editor, improved remote development extensions, multiple terminal instances, and AI-assisted code completion. Here is the next question. In Visual Studio Code, what is the Solution Explorer? Now, for the correct answer. The Solution Explorer is a tool window in Visual Studio Code that displays the projects, files, and folders in a workspace or solution. It enables easy navigation and management of files. Now, for the next question. What is refactoring? Here is the response to this interview question. Refactoring is the process of improving the quality and maintainability of code by restructuring it without changing its functionality. Let's move on to the next question. What is the benefit of creating a JavaScript application project in Visual Studio Code? Here is the interview response. Creating a project in Visual Studio Code for a JavaScript application enables easy management of files, debugging, and integration with version control systems. Here's the next question. What is the difference between a syntax error and a logic error in programming? The interview response is: a syntax error is a mistake in the structure of the code that prevents it from being executed, while a logic error is a mistake in the program's algorithm or logic that causes it to produce incorrect results. This is the next question. How do you debug code in Visual Studio Code? Here is the correct answer. Visual Studio Code has a built-in debugger that allows you to step through your code line by line, set breakpoints, and inspect variables. You can also use a console log statement to print debugging outputs to the console. This is the next question. Why is refactoring important? The correct interview response is: Refactoring is important because it can make the code easier to read and understand, reduce bugs, and make it easier to maintain and extend over time. Now for the next question. What is pair programming? The correct answer is pair programming is when two developers work together on the same code base, with one person coding and the other person reviewing and providing feedback. Now, for the final question. How can pair programming be facilitated when using a code editor? This is the correct way to answer this question. A code editor like Visual Studio Code can facilitate pair programming by allowing developers to share their editor screen and collaborate in real time. We've now come to the end of this video on the code editor interview questions. We hope that you found it to be informative and valuable. Be sure to join us for the next video, where we'll take a closer look at the developer console. Thank you for watching.